So moving on to our next story, it is very warm in my house. That is not our next story. Just generally, if you're watching this on video and you're like, that man, he looks like it's very warm. It is very warm in this house. Either way, moving on to our next story, there are some rumors. And these are rumors. I forgot to mention this at the top of the episode, but there are rumors. This just came to my attention a day or so before we filmed this, that Hasbro is going to be ending their partnership with Toei. So what in the hell does that actually mean? Especially when it comes to Power Rangers, that whole thing that they own the rights to, that they work with Toei to get all this footage for. So, by the way, this is through the Illuminati. That's the name of that. The link, by the way, will be in the script box down below. So I'm going to read this verbatim, and then I'll get into my own speculation. So the Illuminati has recently got word that Hasbro will reportedly not be continuing their partnership with Toei, including the use of footage from Super Sentai from the Power Rangers television series. This means that according to our sources, pause for a second, little pause. I want to know, and this is me, Matt, talking here. I've heard some rumors myself that these sources have been wrong before, specifically with cameos from some characters that were supposed to be in a Beast Morphers Power Rangers special. I believe it was Beast Morphers. If it wasn't, I apologize. But there was certain cameos supposed to be appearing. It was, if not Beast Morphers, it was in the one for Ninja Steel. But either way, there were some cameos that were supposed to happen that did not happen. So from that, there is a little bit of questioning the legitimacy of this source. But either way, let's jump back into this. So reading the article, continuing with it, it says, this means that according to our sources, Super Sentai will no longer be a factor in production for Power Rangers. Our sources are also telling us that this could mean that 2021's Power Rangers Dino Fury will be the last season of the long-running franchise, and as their contract with Nickelodeon expires. Now, I'm going to keep on going, but again, I do feel a little bit of trepidation. That's why I really want to note that these are rumors. But going on, it says that, as the article keeps on going, it says, it's also important to note that production for the Power Rangers franchise has moved from Allspark to another Hasbro subsidiary, E1. This transition can mean multiple things for Power Rangers. E1 is known for the popular children's animated series Peppa Pig, so it's possible that an animated adaptation could be in the works. This was not explicitly confirmed by our sources, however, so that is also speculation from them as well. Now, they go on to, of course, ask the question that I think many of us would ask, where does Hasbro go from here? And they say that there's plenty of places that Hasbro can go after this. Some of these are to be personal speculation, while others we know Hasbro has a focus on going forward. So, again, a potential animated series, they go on to say. They talk about Boom Comics. Of course, everyone loves the comics from Boom. At least as far as I've heard, I've not heard one person say that they don't like those comics. If you don't like them, comment down below. But I've never heard someone say that they haven't. Also, the article goes on to talk about the fact that their sources have confirmed that Hasbro is committed to that upcoming Power Rangers movie, so that's nice. That is in development over at Paramount, so that's pretty cool. And apparently, we'll actually have some more information about that movie within the next couple of days. So maybe that gets added to this episode posthumously, or we'll end up doing another episode sometime next week or the week after that. But this article was posted on July 8th. And the person who wrote this article, by the way, is named Bryce West. Very powerful name, dear God. Either way, so my speculation is that I don't believe this will be happening. Now, the reason why is because, yes, it is much cheaper to be animated, and yes, with everything going on in the world right now, it might be best to think of, if something like this happens again, that would definitely hurt the production of Power Rangers. So it's, even though it would hurt the production of an animated Power Rangers as well, there's a much different, obviously, a workflow when it comes to animated projects versus live action productions. And maybe Hasbro is looking at everything and going, oh, the cost of production, even though it should be cheap, maybe with how much money they're putting into it to refilm certain scenes and whatnot, maybe they think it's more of a hassle to actually film around all that. But personally, Power Rangers, at least from what I've seen, Power Rangers has always been a rather low budget affair. That's not to knock Power Rangers, not to knock Tokusatsu. It's just that the way Power Rangers has historically been made, although to be fair, Disney actually threw a lot of money at it. But when the way Power Rangers has historically been made, you have the Japanese suits, you have Japanese footage rather. Of course, the suits are also Japanese as well. But you have the footage, and for the most part, you just film around it. You dub over most of it. Yes, you can refilm some stuff, and it does look like, at least from what I saw from Beast Morphers, there actually was some footage that I could swear to you was not originally in Go Busters. So maybe they just looked at all that money that they were putting in, and they thought, it's not worth it. But with a show like Dino Fury coming from Ryu Solger, the cameras are so new that it wouldn't surprise me if they just dub over most of it anyway. With something like Go Busters, with its age, even though it was still in the HD era, but it being 7 years old, oh no. Ugh, 7 years old. Ugh. But either way, it being rather old, not rather old, I don't want to say that about myself, but it being over 5 years old, there is a chance that they thought we have to refilm a bunch of stuff, and also there was a lot of helmetless footage. From Ryu Solger, I don't remember, from what I've seen of it, there being a lot of helmetless footage. So it seems ripe for Power Ranger adaptation. It seems ripe to save so much budget on it. So it would be very odd to me if this ends up being the last live action season of Power Rangers. Not that they can't go animated. I would love for them to as well. But it would be very odd if they ditched Toei, if you will, which legally they can't in a sense. What I mean is this, right? It would be very strange if they keep the Power Ranger name, but then say, nah, we're good for all of the footage going forward, because I assume there would be not a very tumultuous relationship between the two. And also, you would still have to, like, just because you've created Power Rangers, I would argue this. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not privy to any of their to any of the knowledge in the contracts, but they are still derivatives of Super Sentai, even in animated form. So that wouldn't mean that if Hasbro says bye bye Toei, goodbye, then that would mean that they could actually just, adapt anything they want to from the past and have the original Mighty Morphin team in animated form and not have to worry about any other licensing fees or anything regarding Toei's footage. So it might be better to say that they don't want to use live action footage, but I feel as if to say that they're going to end a partnership with Toei is a bit misleading. Not anything against the person who wrote this article. Nothing wrong with you, Bryce West, you very strong sounding named person. But when it comes to the idea that it's an ending of a partnership, I think it's really just more so, it's better to say that it is an adjustment. It is a shift in how the partnership is going to be done. Because again, you can't just say, from what I know, it seems as if, and I don't know a lot, but I do know that, you can't just have, let's say, Funimation sit there and be like, well, we license Dragon Ball from you guys, from Toei, and but we're not going to use your footage anymore. We're just going to create our own Flash cartoon or something. You can't really do that. Now I don't know I'm not privy to their contracts, and obviously these contracts have had the ability to be purchased and given from Saban to Disney, back to Saban, now to Hasbro. So, but it would be interesting though to note that maybe, even though there are some issues with contracts, if this has something to do with some issues with contracts surrounding Shout Factory and Toei. Complete speculation on my end, of course, but it would be very interesting if maybe this is causing a strain in that relationship as well, with Shout Factory trying to work with Hasbro and Hasbro having issues with Toei because maybe they don't want to do live action anymore. But again, I don't believe, with the way Hasbro has purchased the license from Saban, that they could say, oh, hey, Toei, we're going to use the license or the likenesses of all your characters, but we're not going to use them in live action format. I'm assuming there would have to be some kind of change to the contract. Even if that was allowed, again, it doesn't mean that their partnership with Toei is ending. It's just how it's going to be changing because, again, Toei owns the rights to these characters as far as I know. Looking at the entirety of the Super Sentai universe, as far as I know, there is no one else that's getting in on that. There is no estate. It's just Toei through and through. Please correct me if I'm wrong down below, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So that would mean that this, again, is just a shift, not necessarily an ending. But either way, though, regardless, tell me what you think down below because I'm I'm not a fan of this. I'll say that much if it does happen, only because of the fact that I feel as if while I'm not like I would like both if there's animated versions that pay tribute to the past, and that's a way that a lot of fans could feel a link to these characters, could have nostalgia. You don't see these characters aging. You even have more stories set in the Mighty Morphin universe, or Mighty Morphin season rather. That would be nice, but I would hate to lose the feeling that this show can go forward and we could see more stories. Even if the stories end up being a bit more adult, and I don't mean that to say that they should be more vulgar, but just a bit more fleshed out with the Mighty Morphin crew, it would still feel weird to feel like we're going to be stuck in the past because again, I'm fine with reunions. I'm fine with team ups. I mean, I love me a good team up with every team teaming up with the previous year. I loved that so much when I saw brief bits of that in Power Rangers early on, and that's one of my favorite parts of Super Sentai, honestly, the Versus movies. It's so sad that we've never gotten a Versus movie legally in the US because I love them so much. But I'm worried that if we stick to animated only, we're never really going to move forward, and it's just going to be us reliving our glory days, and it's going to feel a little, at first it's going to be nice, don't get me wrong, but at a certain point, how do you bring in new blood into this fandom? Yes, we're not old. Okay, I'm only 27. I'm not old, but how do you bring in new blood into the fandom when you're just paying lip service to what came out 20 years ago? So I'm sure some of you are going to disagree with me there, probably, but again, tell me what you think down below because I think that animated in conjunction with live action, beautiful, bravissimo, do it. But to have it exclusively be animated and not have live action footage, it just feels very strange to me and very odd. But again, tell me your thoughts down in the comment section down below.